back, and now got the lady who's joining. Yomi, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. It's a long day getting
It is.
here.
Yes.
The day is just starting, but for me, it's long.
It's long.
And I'm sure
I can
you
imagine.
experienced it.
Yes, I experienced the traffic.
The
It was
traffic is
horrendous. It was
yes.
terrible traffic
And
on
I
the
couldn't
way.
say what caused it.
It's one silly accident, a big truck just after Otedola Estate on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. And I was mentioning when I was having the chat this morning that the government has got to find a way to make sure that they're able to move these vehicles out of the way.
That area. Estate area, it is so
terrible.
Notorious.
It is terrible.
Anyway, we are here now. And,
yes.
We'll just make the best of today.
Yes, Yomi is here to make sure that we have a fantastic time this morning. My name is Kadi Akintemi.
Yomi Otaibe.
Yes. Now, we'll start in earnest. The first segment of this program today, we're taking a very keen eye, we're putting a very keen eye on Plateau State. The mass violence in Plateau State over the past decade, I think it was from around the 7th of September 2001, just over 2 years after the transition from military to civilian rule in 1999, the belief was that the Plateau State was previously free of conflict and was named Home of Peace and Tourism. And the quality of the environment in Plateau State, the height of the place, because it's plateau, and the beauty of the weather. You have all of those things happening in the state, but suddenly the calmness and the peace and the tranquil nature and serene nature of that environment was thrown into all kind of problems from 2001 to date. And we've had so many incidents that give one cause for concern. So this morning, we're taking a look at all of that, plus the fact that the National Union of Local Government Employees, they've been on strike for a while over this issue of 18,000 Naira minimum wage, and so on and so forth. And there's also the flood issue in the state. So many things happening in a place that's supposed to be the home of peace and tourism. And for that reason, we've got in our midst on the set today. I'll start from my immediate left, the Commissioner for Planning, the State Planning Commission, and that's Mr. Pamsin Daggett. Great to have you on the show this morning.
Happy to be here.
And sitting just next to him is the Director, Center for Advocacy of Justice and Rights, Mr. Gad Peter.
Thank you, and good morning.
And then just on my right-hand side, we've got a political analyst who's also joining us to have an interesting conversation about what's been going on in Plateau, Nelson Shea.
Thank you and good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome.
Yes, so I'll start with the Commissioner. What is the state of play? Because we look at what the members of the assembly in the state assembly have been saying. In fact, just yesterday or so, they did say that they would want the governor to come and explain why do we have this situation with the National Union of Local Government Employees. How could you have a situation where the state has got teachers who are not able to work and children are left to not be able to have any education whatsoever? What's the explanation of the state government?
Well, the state government has issued a press release to that regard, and it's now public, the position of the state. But for you to understand clearly what is happening in the state, just give me a moment to just give you a little rundown of the relationship with the state, the local government, and their employees. At the onset, when Governor Jang took the mantle of leadership in his first tenure, he met a local government with about 12 months non-payment of salaries, about 5 years of no promotions, all benefits of the local government civil servants are not paid. Now, the governor, being an experienced administrator when it comes to state administration. Remember, he was a governor in Benue State when Benue was still with Kogi. He equally manned Adamawa State. Then it was Gongola State when Taraba was still there. So it tells you of his experience. When he took the mantle of leadership. Because of his background too, as a strict disciplinarian, he ensured that the resources of the state are properly managed, and within 1 year, all the entitlement of these local government staffs were paid. Within the second year, all their promotions were offered to them and all their benefits were paid. Leave grants, everything you can think of. To be fair with you, by the time the governor was seeking for a second tenure, the local government employees were the pillar to which the governor got this mandate, because they so much believe in the miracle of managing the resources to pay them all entitlement was something that was not really imagined, but it happened. So the question will be, where did this problem started? A little while ago, there was this election of the new ESCO of these local government employees. And like I did mention, my governor always have this scenario that he has nothing to hide. So instead of government using her resources to machinate the elections and getting executive of unions that are pro-government to take the mantle, his position is that we have better use for these resources. Let the unions elect whoever they think will serve their best interests. And of course, elections was left free and fair. But the irony is that immediately the new ESCO got this leadership, they went celebrating that they beat the government to it. And that mindset.
Why will they think they beat the government? Is the government supposed to be represented within the union?
You see, before now, government always engages or have interest in these elections to ensure that those who are pro them are elected. But they have this perception that probably the people they were contesting with have one alienation with the government or the other, which in real terms, the governor let everything to go free and fair. So they thought, or in their own thinking, that they have won and they have beat the government to it. The other ESCOs have so much close to the government and they are relating so much with the government, therefore maybe some of their perceived entitlement were kind of not being met.
Okay.
On that basis, on that mindset, then this scenario came up. When the federal government now brought the 18,000 minimum wage and made it a law, remember, state and local government are supposed to go back and negotiate on that. That is the point many unions are not interested in talking about. State and local government are supposed to go and negotiate their capacity to pay. As it is, when the state civil service went on strike demanding for 18,000 minimum wage implementation, the local government then joined them. Then the question was, I am not paying you as a state. Local government gets their salaries and whatever from local government. So if you are joining the state, who are you negotiating with? The state are negotiating with the state. The state labor negotiates with the state. And local government labor negotiate with Algon. So based on that premise, they withdrew from the strike, because superior wisdom took the day. Immediately, the state negotiated, paid what is feasible to the local government, to the state government employees. And remember, Plateau State is the first to implement any form, is among the first states to implement any form of 18,000 minimum wage.
So who are the people that the state government are paying the 18,000 naira?
The state government civil service.
State government. So the local government civil service, they're not getting that money.
Is the interesting part. Immediately the state were implemented their 18,000 minimum wage increase. The governor, being an experienced person, called the Algon, using the state, local government and chieftaincy affairs, to invite the unions at that level and negotiate what is feasible at that level. There was no strike. It is the government that, it is the directive of the governor to get this negotiation done so that they too can benefit from what is feasible. The irony is this. The local government and the government functionaries sat along with Algon and agreed, because what happened is that the Algon presented every revenue that is accrued to them that is negotiable, that is constant. There are some revenues that are not constant. For instance, excess crude is not a constant revenue head. So you cannot bring that in a negotiation for payment of salaries. So they presented everything. And the union, seeing the financial implication, agreed, signed an agreement to accept 50% implementation of the 18,000 minimum wage. That story they are not telling.
What is the current minimum wage in Plateau State for local government employees at the moment?
18,000 minimum wage, 50% of it.
No, we're saying
What's the
what
current?
is
The current. How much is the
of the 18,000
No,
minimum wage?
not that. Before, prior to that
The
agreement.
It's far less than what they are getting today.
What is that? What amount is it?
Somewhere around 7,000.
7,000.
Yes.
So now it's being increased to 50% of 18,000, and that will be about 9,000.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, at that level, they signed this agreement. And in the agreement, there is a caveat that an increase in local government salaries will be based on an increase in the revenue of the local government. It's there in that agreement. So, because this union have this mindset, that is my perception. They felt they need to do something because their tenure is almost over. They need to do something to prove that probably they are hardliners. They wake up overnight to now say that there is an increase in the revenues of the local government and went on strike.
When did the strike start?
About 7 months ago.
Now, 7 months down the line, why has the governor and the state government and the local government chairman, why have they not engaged them to the point where this is resolved as quickly as possible? 7 months is a long time.
Now, that is the point. What people don't know is that immediately they declared their 21 days ultimatum to go on strike.
Yes.
The Algon, remember we are talking about local government staff. So the responsibility of their salary payment is saddled on Algon, local government chairman. So they quickly called them to inquire on what basis are they going on strike. They said there is an increase. And then the Algon told them, no, here is the books. They said they're not ready to listen to the books, that as far as they are concerned, there is an increase. It reached a point at around the third month. House of Assembly, on her own, instituted a committee and invited the unions and the local government. In that particular sitting, the House of Assembly asked the same question, and the unions still emphasized that there was an increase. Then the House of Assembly told them, go and bring the proof of that increase. The next meeting, there was no proof. And so the House of Assembly now said, you don't have a proof. So what do we do? They say, okay, yes, truly there's no proof, okay, but do something. We cannot go back to our workers and tell them there is nothing. And then the House of Assembly now negotiated with Algon and said, fair enough, 1% increase. So it moved from 50% to 51% increase. I think they went back, and then somewhere along the line, they didn't agree with even the 1% increase. So that is, at that point, the governor, being a responsible head of government, decided to come in. Since the Algon and the local and the unions couldn't agree, since the House of Assembly intervention did not reach out to a proper solution, the governor now felt it is time for him as a father to intervene. He now quickly invited all stakeholders in the state.
And this was how many months into this?
Like within the fourth month.
Fourth month?
Yes.
Okay.
So the governor, being concerned, people are at home. Education is being battered at that local level. So he quickly invited all stakeholders in the state and asked the parties to make presentation. The commissioner of local government expressed the scenario to the stakeholders. And remember, in these stakeholders, both those that are anti and those that are pro-government, all of them were there. It's the entire stakeholders, the chiefs, the men of thoughts, all were there. In that particular meeting, the governor said, because this is a presentation from the state, it's possible the state may not be saying the right thing. So the governor now said, let us put a committee of stakeholders. And the committee of stakeholders was headed by a statesman, a very, very respected statesman, a one-time governor of the state. Everybody knows Governor Atukun to be a very, very strict and an outright person. He tells a spade for a spade and yes for yes. He headed that committee. And in that committee, those the opposition feel they are their champions. We are members of those committee. The elders sat and asked the union, present your position on this salary increase. The union have no position. They have no increase to prove. What they are now saying is that, okay, why don't we drop all the line charges? You know, when you are paying local governments, there are first line charge, like the 5% for the chiefs, all those ones should be dropped so that we can now put together the resources and pay them. And then it's not funny. It's not practicable. It's constitutionally backed.
Okay, maybe you should just hold your thoughts and let's bring in Mr. Nelson Shea.
Very well.
What do you think, is really wrong in Plateau State concerning this the NULGE issue?
The Plateau issue has always been that of political interest, as he has rightly said. People always look for avenues to cash in, to pull down the government of the day, because they don't see reason what he is trying to do. Now, it's like this. You come to negotiation table with a preconceived notion that, look, if I don't have this my way, then we all lose, which is very, very wrong. The initial issue was salaries. Now, it now took a political twist whereby the so-called opposition saw it as an avenue to cash in, hijack the leadership of the ESCO, and then fight the government of the day. Because the truth about it is, the local government, the entire staff strength of the local government is about 45,000 workers. That of the state civil service is about 25,000. And then the local government gets less than what the state government gets in terms of subvention. Then is it practicable to attain what they're demanding for the 18,000 minimum wage? It's not possible.
So you're saying
Yes.
that your reading of the situation
Yes.
is that there are political machination in all of this?
Yes. Why so? We are heading towards the local government elections. We are within the period of conducting local government elections. And then definitely political opposition parties will want to look for avenues where they can discredit the party of the day and the leadership